Well, congratulations. We made it to Friday. Um, okay. So on the screen, you'll notice I got two folders open. Uh, the Friday proper file is just listing the critical lenses we went over already. The idea here, what you didn't read for yourself from Thursday of those same critical theories, I put them here in Friday so that you can finish reading them. Be sure to complete them. You've got to be sure you understand which of these you're going to be manipulating, which of these you'll be using in your own papers. Now, starting with the word of the day, didactic. This is a word that's going to be popping up all over the place. Didactic. Officially, it means a style of writing that comes across overly preachy. Lecturing. Okay? So, in some regards, usually when I say didactic, that means it's you're using it incorrectly. You are forcing an opinion of morality on your readers, or you're being very pushy with your bias towards a subject. Okay? You're over explaining things dramatically. That's didactic. However, having said that, there's a positive way of viewing it, and like a sermon at church or synagogue, it is by nature didactic, and it's supposed to be didactic. Okay, so in those logic, it can be a positive. Some lectures from instructors will be didactic, and that's their role. I tend to be less pushy as far as establishing a strong sense of morality on you, or a strong sense of academic expectations in an overly dramatic fashion. At least that's a personal view. Okay, so what we have here, this is from Richard Nordquist and his definition of didactism. And as he puts it in what I have in blue, some connotations of the word didactic can include an inference or being heavy-handed and preachy, but that manner is not a requirement for something to be didactic. So it's just another take on the word. Okay? So whenever I use it, it means you're doing it too much. Keep that in mind. Okay, so that's that term. Again, these are the 4 files about the theories. Okay. So I'm going to shift over back to the main week 1 folder. Okay. Now, there are 2 exercises in the exercise folder. One is preparing you for the summer assessment. One is what is due at the end of on the 14th. On the 14th. Okay, so I'm going to go with the one on the 14th first. This is the immediate concern. You are going to be looking at one of these 3 paired up comparisons. You're going to choose one of them, one set to compare. You can choose Walt Whitman and the American Worker Strike. You can choose Sylvia Plath and a painting by Frida Kahlo. Or you can choose a poem by Emily Dickinson and compare that with a song by Van Morrison. These 3 items are available to you in the course calendar right here. Okay? So for instance, when I click on the Walt Whitman, there's the video, and there's the poem that you would be comparing to the video. Okay? Yes, these are two different genres. But what you're doing, you're showing that you can recognize a commonality between the verse and the video, in this case. And in the case of Sylvia Plath, it's a short poem. You're comparing it to the painting. Okay. In the case of Emily Dickinson, you've got two lyrics. A short Emily Dickinson and a short Van Morrison. In each case, I've given sentence stems at the base to help guide you to find a pattern in your logic of approach. Now, the thing to keep in mind, this is not a paper. You're generating basically a paragraph. A 5 or more sentence academic paragraph. So here is the rubric based on these 5 qualities. 20 points each. Okay, a perfect paper will have 20 in all categories. We're dealing with that the presentation meets MLA expectations. The thesis declaration is a strong value claim. Your opinion is expressed. The evidence and the argument. You're constructing an analysis with synthesis of your evidence and of your main argument. Your conclusion will have a deductive point. You're bringing the argument to the world at large. Okay? What is the main emphasis you want to place when you compare these two items? And then finally, your overall insight, the perception you present. Okay? You want to be sure you're showing an academic discussion. There will be no colloquial terms used in these papers. Okay. So, again, the quantity of the sentence is important. The quality of your grammar is also important. I've given you an example of a working value claim, the topic sentence. And an example for the second sentence, the secondary evidence sentence, based on what is a common theme between the two subjects. So when you're quoting, be sure to use in-text citations. We do not need a works cited page, however, but you are providing textual evidence, so therefore you need to give me the line count of where you're taking material. As far as the video is concerned, don't worry about the textual in-text citation. Okay, I'm only referring to the poems and the verse. Those are the times you need to give me the line count. All said and done, this is a simple assignment. You're showing me mainly you can construct an academic paragraph, you can construct an argument, and you understand synthesis. God, I hate that word. Synthesis. Okay, so if any questions come up, by all means, hit me with the questions. This is due Monday, before class. Okay. Now, the second assignment. You, over the summer, have read a novel. The point is, you have to take an assessment on the said summer reading. If you haven't completed the reading, for God's sakes, start reading. You've got a few days. The deadline date will be the 25th, August 25th. Okay? The way this is going to work, between now and the 25th of September, you are gathering up your notes. You're looking at those documents I put into Google Classroom. You're getting everything in a nice little order. You're typing them up. You're printing them out. These notes you will bring to class. On the 25th, you are going to write an essay in class. Okay? So I'm going to read through this really quickly. It's going to repeat some items I've already stated. Over the recent summer months, you were to read a novel chosen from a provided list of books. Currently, starting with the first week of the semester, begin reviewing the material you have covered and clarify any details that confuse you from the overall reading process. Your objectives. 1. You will develop a cohesive collection of notes and annotations from the text. Gather all your commentaries and observations into a printed outline of data. You will need this later. Likewise, type out your responses to the 4 worksheets posted during the summer months in Google Classroom. 2. Select 2 prompts below, and that's right here in this section. Select 2 prompts below, 2 of them, and respond in full details in relation to the novel you've read. Defend your observations with full quotes and in-text citations from various locations within the full text. So when I say from various locations, don't just pick some 2 or 3 quotes from the opening chapter. Don't pick 2 or 3 quotes from just the ending chapter. I want to see quotes from throughout the text, beginning, middle, and end. You're proving to me you've read the full novel. So, in 300 words or more for each prompt, you're writing a response. Now, this exercise is dealing with synthesis, so in a few seconds it should be clear to you what I'm doing. So basically, you're picking 2 prompts and writing a page for each, what it comes down to. On September 25th, you will be given a 3rd prompt to merge with today's assignment. At that time, within the class period, you are to create a short, cohesive response and post it in Schoology. This is a timed assignment. You have to do it within the time frame of the class. All paperwork and pre-writing will be turned in after completion of the essay. Okay? You've done a similar concept with Nyman, so I'm confident you know what I'm talking about. So here are the prompts. Some of these will echo what were written on the worksheets. So letter A. What is one probable theme within the full story that you've read? Compose a thematic statement and explain your choice with specific details. When I say specific details, quotes. Remember, quotes you have to explain. Letter B. Is the protagonist an example of how an individual is to behave in society? In other words, is the author warning you, as a reader, is the author warning you how society is becoming corrupt? Letter C. Is the author stating a warning about the failure of modern society, or is the text a celebration of modern society? So depending on which novel you picked, you can go either way with that one. There is a wrong answer to that one. Letter D. Does the specified gender of the protagonist affect one of the developing major themes in the book? So, for instance, in the novel Orlando, if you read that, you know instantly what I'm talking about. The gender of the protagonist, in a manner of speaking, is affecting the themes. Likewise with the stranger. The protagonist is male. How is that affecting the themes? Letter E. Does society control the actions of the protagonist, or is he, she, acting out their own choices? This is getting into the realm of free will, which we briefly went over the last series of documents. We'll have a long, intense conversation about free will versus determinism. Okay? So in other words, does society control the actions of the protagonist, or is he and she acting out of free will? Be careful how you answer that one. Letter F. How did the contemporary song lyrics reflect a contemporary equivalent to the probable themes of the book? Have attitudes changed at all over time? If you're going to select letter F, do not quote the song. You're just quoting the material you've read. If you're going to select letter F, you need to go very in depth. Strongly crafted your answer. That sounds like a basic, quick thought off the top of your head. It isn't. Each one of these requires some in-depth thought process. G. What one flaw of the protagonist acts as a major message influencing change for contemporary readers? Okay, even though the majority of these writings were all written before 1970, except for one. When I say contemporary readers, you are contemporary. None of these writings were produced in the 2000s. Okay, so how are they influencing change in contemporary society for the contemporary reader? So you're choosing 2 of those prompts, responding to 2 of those prompts. And then on the 25th, I'll give you a 3rd prompt, and you slam it all together into one essay. This one I am expecting some questions. So if you want to hit me with questions, by all means, be sure you feel confident about the material. Okay? So that's for Friday. Again, be sure you are understanding all of these literary theories. You might have picked up on the fact the prompts are echoing the theories. Each prompt is one of these in particular. Okay, so that's that. Hope you have a good weekend. Be productive. Stay out of trouble. Stay safe. And I'll see you next week.